Ladies and gentlemen, it is heating up as we have a major Phoenix Suns trade update as we have new details coming out about Jimmy Butler and the potential possibilities of the Suns still wanting to acquire him. Plus, we have a post game to go after the Suns get a big comeback victory versus the Charlotte Hornets in a revenge match to continue that win streak at home to 3-0 and give some fans some new light with this season. We're going to be breaking down all of this and more on this episode of Suns Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support on the channel these last couple weeks. But we do want to let you know that around 82% of you guys who watch these videos are not subscribed. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything revolving around this Suns team with Jimmy Butler update news, post-game notifications, weekly live streams, talking about the team in general, this is the place for you on YouTube. So make sure to hit the like button, hit that subscribe, and let us know what your thoughts are down below in the comment section on all the news that we break down in today's video. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into that video in hand, and you know what to do best. Grab that snack and let's get into it because this was huge as the Suns were able to pull off a big, thrilling comeback victory, and that's what we're going to be breaking down first, as it was truly impactful for this Suns team to get this win last night. And like I mentioned, they went on this big 3-game home win streak, which is really starting to push the narrative for this Suns team. They were able to win back-to-back games as well, which was another green sign from this Suns team, securing both wins versus the Pistons and versus the Hornets on Saturday and Sunday, and cleaning up versus the Atlanta Hawks as well in that first game. But like I mentioned, let's get into it. The Suns came back and were able to beat the Hornets 120-113 in a game where Charlotte was really in control for most of it. Phoenix was able to light up from the three-point line late in the end to be able to be successful, but the Suns did have some disappointing stuff happen throughout this game as well that we'll definitely be detailing. Like I mentioned, the Suns were able to outshoot the Charlotte Hornets team from three-point range, were very successful, but struggled once again on the rebound category. We do know that the Suns are without Jusuf Nurkic as he has gotten 2 DNPs, but recently he has received a illness and is not going to be traveling with the team and was ruled out of yesterday's game as well. And that has rarely limited the Suns on the board control, but has helped out in other ways for the Suns to pull out wins. Even though that happened, the Hornets were able to dominate in points in the paint, and the Suns really struggled with turnovers. But the Hornets did as well, where the Suns were able to capitalize on a lot of points off those turnovers to keep them in this game late. And like I mentioned, looking at this roster, we could see a fantastic game from the big three here last night, KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal once again all clicked, and Bradley Beal is really finding himself on this bench role. I know my boy John Voita tweeted this out talking about Bradley Beal, but the bench points for the Phoenix Suns have soared since Bradley Beal has been on the bench, and it's really helped with that second unit gaining cohesion. With adding Royce O'Neal back into this lineup as well, as he's been out with that ankle injury, was very, very solid. And even though Royce did have some blips throughout the game shooting-wise, he came up clutch, getting some big-time threes, and that was, I think, the real tell story. Royce O'Neal once again coming up clutch for this team, even if he has a little whack of a shooting night. Grayson Allen once again is back with this team, really striving in those shooting percentages after having his season high just a couple nights ago. Puts up another fantastic performance, and shout out to Oso Ighodaro, man. I won't lie to you guys, I definitely was wrong. Earlier on this podcast, a couple videos ago, I was talking about Oso Ighodaro and how I thought that he was not fit to be a starting center in this league for the team immediately. He'd still have to grow as a backup, but he has been flourishing for this team, really filling in, and like Devin Booker has said, has really taken that maturity and really stepped up for this team when it mattered most. Tyus had a little bit of a disappointing game, unfortunately, and like I mentioned, the Hornets were dominant on the boards. Mark Williams was very aggressive alongside Nick Richards and really took over for this team comparative to last game where Richards dominated. He had a total of 16 rebounds and 24 points, was just dominant on the glass. Players like LaMelo were also hitting some tough shots as well. Miles Bridges were getting into some action as well, and the Hornets unfortunately just fell apart late, had some late turnovers, fell apart defensively where the Suns were able to pull through, and that was a nice victory for this Suns team, like I mentioned, to get on this nice little win streak against some of these weaker Eastern Conference teams and really propel us back into that conversation in the play-in and pushing for this playoffs, still pursuing trades and still looking to make moves. So let me know what you guys think down below on that big win. But let's get into the other news as well, because like I mentioned, we're going to be talking about some Jimmy Butler stuff, as this is absolutely huge, and we're going to be breaking down, is this really happening? Because there's been a lot of reports over the last couple of weeks, and we got some new stuff from Mark Stein yesterday, really detailing us and letting us know what the push is for the Suns and for Bradley Beal. So if we want to get into this, we can see this article, courtesy of Bleacher Report from Andrew Peters, really restates what Mark Stein said about the Jimmy Butler rumors and Suns wanting him bad amid the Heat Stars trade request. And if we want to look at this, Jimmy Butler is reportedly fixated on a trade to the Phoenix Suns amid a standoff with the Miami Heat, and reportedly are just and the Suns are reportedly just as interested in him. Per NBA insider Mark Stein, Phoenix wants Butler in a trade, and one league source even said that Suns want him bad. However, there's a potential obstacle to a Phoenix trade with Butler, as Bradley Beal's contract features a no-trade clause that would prohibit a deal. Before Bradley Beal obsessively discussed no trade clauses can even come into play, Miami and Phoenix need a third team willing to observe Beal's monster contract to emerge, writes Stein, as we all know that Miami doesn't want to take on his contract. It's understandable why Butler wants to play for the Suns, as not only he'd be a good position to keep Heat against the title alongside Durant and Booker, but Phoenix seems to be willing to keep a lucrative contract to a 35-year-old. Stein reported last week that Suns owner Matt Ishbia is believed to be willing to sign the 35-year-old to a lucrative new contract as anyone you'll find. Butler, who's currently in a 7-game suspension with the Heat, is putting up around 18 points, 5.5 rebounds, and almost 5 assists per game this year. While his numbers are far from the best of his career, he could be enough to help the Suns win a championship. And I want to say that obviously that is 100% facts. And I think that this is kind of progressing and kind of getting some motion now. But with obviously Bradley Beal really picking up and playing his play, a lot of discussion has really dived into this Suns organization is, should they keep Bradley Beal off the bench? Should they run with this team, or should they pursue a Butler deal? And ultimately, I think the Butler deal still needs to be pursued. Like I've kind of brought up, Beal is playing fantastic basketball, but he can still be a quality player and can still be helpful on a lot of playoff teams. It just doesn't work with the fit with Book, with Tyus, with KD in a lineup with Beal. And we've seen that with this Suns team with him being in this second unit. It's ultimately not Beal that's a bad player. It's just the fit with the team. And truly, I believe that pursuing a deal for Butler, even if it does mean we have to sacrifice a lot, even if it does mean the Suns might be strapping them up long term, I think it's going to give happiness to the two main stars and Matt Ishbia and pushing the Suns for a championship. It could pursue for Kevin Durant to sign this extension alongside Jimmy Butler, and yes, would be with some older stars. Yes, would be going in for a championship or bust type of team for a couple of seasons. But ultimately, I do believe that the Phoenix Suns, if they had Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant, they would have the name power and the star power to convince these role players to want to come play with them and have guys want to win a championship with them. Jimmy Butler came so close 2 times in Miami trying to get a championship, once as an eighth seed with players like Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero, but with other guys that were pretty much G League players or guys in the Miami Heat system that played very, very well in that team. And I think you pair him up with Devin Booker, you pair him up with Kevin Durant, you let Book run that point guard once again. You have Book, Butler, Dunn, Durant, and a center inserting into that lineup, and this team is set up for success in the playoffs and could really, really make some noise, I truly think, in the seasons to come. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, what you guys ultimately think. Do you guys think pursuing Butler is the move for this team, or do you think keeping Beal on the bench is still the way to kind of pursue things? Obviously, the center is still a big issue. We have seen risings with Mason Plumlee, with Oso Gudaro, with Yusuf Nurkic out, but filling in that hole for Yusuf Nurkic and getting a supplementable piece to work alongside these bigs is still a necessity, and I still think the Suns are still going to be pushing that, even if things have stalled with Yusuf Nurkic and things have stalled with Nick Richards at this very moment. I do believe the Suns will still engage and still pursue to try to get a deal done. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, what you guys ultimately think about this team and how you feel about the Phoenix Suns really going into this 2025 season as they're on this 3-game win streak and gearing up to take on some more weaker Eastern Conference opponents. Like I said, the Suns are going on an Eastern Conference road trip. We'll have all the news to break down for this team here on Suns Digest. So if you do enjoy the content, let us know what you thought down below, hit the subscribe, smash the like button, share it to all your friends, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and go Phoenix Suns. Peace out, everyone.